Your drink.
This is not a test. This is your emergency broadcast system announcing the commencement of another purge of the BS, sanctioned by the First Amendment. Frustration levels 0 to 100 have been authorized for use during this purge. All weapons are restricted. Government officials have not been granted immunity from the purge of the BS and shall undoubtedly receive the smoke. Commencing at the sound of the gong, any and all BS, especially unnecessary goofiness, will be purged without prejudice. Police, fire, and emergency medical services will be available, but they will be busy because they too will be watching the purge of the BS. Blessed be those who have already been victims of some BS. May God be with you all.
Welcome to another purge of the BS. I am getting myself together over here. It has been quite the weekend and early week. So let's get it together, y'all. Let's talk about it. Let's figure it out and let's purge that BS. So if you're brand new to the channel, make sure that you hit that like, subscribe, jump in the chat. Let me know where you're coming in here from. I see IMZ in the chat. I see my man Al Bond already in the chat. So that means we ready to get this thing started. Now today, guys, I got to cover a couple of really interesting topics. We're going to get to our big, beautiful BS a little bit later. But we're going to start with some regular debauchery, which is what we normally do on a Tuesday and a Thursday here on the Purge of the BS. So before we get started, I just want to make sure that you guys understand this content and all content that will appear on this channel is for the purposes of fair use employment hiring initiatives and disability initiatives in the United States. So any donations, super chats, or purchases that you make from freemanservices.org/shop are specifically dedicated for that purpose. So I want to thank everybody who has assisted with the wonderfulness of this show. And let me get ready to go. All right, let's see what we got here. Askew Jew, thank you for stopping in to the chat there. Appreciate you. That gong's for you. Not sure exactly who you're speaking of when you say she can do this to you, because I'm a guy. Maybe you talk about the thumbnail. Might be talking about the thumbnail. Must be talking about the thumbnail. But anyway, guys, I'm telling you, this is going to be an interesting episode. I'm going to piss a few people off. I got my segment for the nerds, and I got my segment for the Trump lovers and the Trump haters, okay? So we're going to get into all of that, giving y'all 2 seconds to get here, because I got some shit to do. Now, bring this on back up. All All right, it looks like we got it here. All right, so what's good, family? It's your Papa Purge in the building once again on a Tuesday, ready to get this thing started. And we are here to purge some serious BS today. And I'm calling it serious because it's some big, beautiful BS. And it's not just a bill, it's a whole situation going on. It's a whole culture, if we want to call it that. That's the problem. Because right now, they got us fighting out here over crumbs while people are feasting at the table eating steak and lobster. And I'm not talking about our wonderful soldiers who were recently fed steak and lobster. I'm talking about the elites. Now, before I get all into this, ain't about no elite hatage, okay? This is about the differences of the haves and the have-nots. And when you're the have-nots, there's more that you have to do to become the haves. It is what it is. They got men and women at each other's throats over money while they're just printing money and just moving millions and billions of dollars around. Meanwhile, we over here struggling to have, to get anywhere better than check to check, struggling to have savings. And this is not just black families. This is anybody who's making less than a certain amount. That's what it rolls into. It's all about the numbers. It's not about the nation. It's not about the heritage, so to speak. It's literally just about the numbers. And unfortunately, because certain people make certain numbers, we get what's called the disproportionate effect, okay? So anybody that's new to the channel, that's coming in here, I'm not trying to have no, why are you only worried about black people conversation. It's not that. It's just that a certain group of people fall into a certain area, and I believe that if we build up that group and build up that area, that it would be better for everyone. So it doesn't really matter what color the people are. It just so happens that in America, disproportionately, that group ends up being people of color. Technically, all people have a color, so that's always been a weird thing to me. But I'm going to get into a couple of really quick clips. I was trying to find this one that my boy sent me, but I think X just took it down. So give me 1 second. I'll see if I can find it. 1 second here. A history thing on here? It's in. I wonder, does X have a history? All right, well, I can't find it right. Sucks, because I really needed this clip. And I'm going to try to find it in a second. But before we get there, I'm going to just go with the one while I'm trying to figure it out. And thank you guys for stopping in. I know it's been real crazy with the algorithm lately. I've been kind of talking to it. I've been kind of talking to the algorithm, trying to figure out what it wants. And it's really been...
I ain't got no gold.
It's kind of funny that they keep saying that.
I ain't got no gold.
All right, you know what? I'll just bring the clip over. That's funny, though, Askew Jew, about shellfish. And it does go to the understanding that they can change the perception of something if all of the right people say that it's something. So just like fish eggs, caviar, I don't like caviar. It tastes nasty to me. I don't like the consistency. I don't like the little eggs popping in my mouth. It's disgusting. But it's supposed to be very high-class food. Who said that? You see what I'm saying? Somebody came up with that, and now we just live under this system. But everybody knows that shellfish are the scavengers of the sea. Crabs, lobsters, things like that. We consider them delicacies, but to the ocean, they like the low-end dudes. You know what I'm saying? Like, they like the hood dudes of the ocean is the crabs and the lobsters and the shellfish, crayfish, all that kind of stuff. We love them, but the ocean don't love them. Ocean, like, yo, you always scavenging, man, just grabbing people's stuff with your claws. But nonetheless, I really wanted to find one clip, but I got this other one that's going to kind of take us into our topic today. And basically, a friend of mine sent me this clip regarding a young man who is in the hood and believes that the hood offers him the best opportunities in life. I want y'all to hear what he has to say.
I ain't got no gold. I was born to stay in the hood.
I'm gonna get hit for that damn song, though.
How you gonna make money?
The government gonna take care of me. All I gotta do is have 8 kids and I'm Gucci.
Why are they doing
How
this
much
stuff?
food stamps I can get with 8 kids? The hood is the land of opportunity. I get chopped cheese, Chinese food, and John Louis on the same block.
This is actually sad. I don't know why they played the Temptations on there, but that's pretty sad. This is a young man. He looks like he can't be any older than maybe, I'd say 12. Looks like a 12-year-old, maybe 12-year-old. He's definitely not over 15, 16 years old. He's a little guy. And he's already established in his mind that the best option he has, and I don't know why, maybe that's a little girl under all that. I don't know why they would talk about kids, because dudes don't look at children as a financial come up. It's more of an expense. Like, if I'm a father, that doesn't mean I'm going to get something for being a dad. See what I'm saying? Oh, Sebastian Polega, thank you for stopping on in as well with another subscribe over there. I appreciate you. But here's my question. Whose fault is this guy's mentality? Now, I know what we're going to say. We're going to say it's the parents. Because, to a degree, it is the damn parents. Because they're probably living like that, and he's getting that idea from somewhere, right? And how do you stop him from getting that idea? Well, you change up the requirements for some stuff. And that's what we're going to be getting into today. Because this little person got the game twisted on what's about to happen when it comes to just being in the hood. Okay? So give me a second here. And make sure y'all hit the like button. Make sure you do what Sebastian Polega just suggested. Make sure you hit that like button. Because we are about to get into some stuff. I know I'm going to get in trouble. I'm probably going to get in trouble for that Temptation song just playing a couple of minutes ago. So we'll be dealing with that later. But nonetheless, there's a culture problem, right? That starts with little young people like this. And then at some point ends up as teenagers doing teenagery. Hold on a second here. I got to put the story here. Hold on. Sorry, I'm typing here. But anyway, let me bring the second story up. I really wanted the first one. I'm going to try to find it because it was very important to have that. Very important. And it was basically, I'll sum it up since I don't have it. There was a gentleman who said that he basically straps up every day with a weapon to go out into the world. And the reason why he does that is not because of anybody else other than people that looks like him. This is a black guy saying this. So I'm actually kind of surprised that X, of all places, took it down. Like, it's weird with X. You think X is just letting all types of stuff go. It's not. You can be racist towards black people, but you cannot be a conscious black person on X, if that makes sense. I know it sounds weird, right? But let's just say you put up a post on X that has a bunch of sub-Saharans. We'll use that term today. I heard Hodge twins say that one. Sub-Saharans who are doing something, right? And then a bunch of people from the Caucasus Mountains jump into the comments and say some pretty racist stuff. And it doesn't seem to stop them from doing that. But if I show a video and say something like, okay, folks, y'all are a problem and we're sick and tired of it. Just me. All of a sudden I get called for like hate speech or something. It's always weird to me. It's like I can't say it, but they know that that's true. So let me give y'all this other clip real quick, because folks like this turn into folks like this. So recently there was a parade in New York. Oh, let me turn this down, Jesus. All right, let me give you context. So there was a pride parade in New York, I guess to celebrate the end of Mental Health Month, which I find kind of ironic that they tried to rename it to like Mental Health Awareness Month, because some people think that alternative lifestyles are a mental health issue versus just a sexual preference. So I find that interesting that they decided to rename it to that, and nobody said nothing about it, so I just let it be. But basically, there was a parade. People were being messy, I guess, and somebody sprayed bear spray into the crowd. Now, without full context, I don't know if they got into an altercation and sprayed somebody, and then that's what happened, and then other people just got like sprayed on the side, or if this person came in and just decided to start spraying people with bear spray. I don't really know, because I wasn't there, okay? But for some reason, this person, I believe this is a female here, is getting arrested for bear spraying people in Washington Square in New York. Now, I'm all for celebrating whatever your thing is, right? But New York is messy enough. They left so much garbage and trash and all that kind of stuff on there. So they're not going to attribute that to their alternative lifestyle. They're going to attribute that to the melanin in their skin. They just caught that lady digging in her ass. Did you see that? No, I'm not going to rewind it. If you missed it, you missed it. But they just caught the lady digging in the butt cheeks. But to answer Sebastian Polega in the chat, bear spray is just pepper spray, but stronger. That's all it is. It's just a little bit stronger. It's intended for bears. Now, here's the thing. There's not a lot of bears in New York, so I'm not sure if this is a big seller there, but if you go to an event with bear spray, it's normally for like self-defense. So that's why I'm saying I need a little more context. This is a new story, a new story, not just a news story. This is a new story. So I'm not really sure what's going on with how everything started, but this guy's shirt says "I love sex" on it, which, hey, I agree with that. I don't know if that means something different, but if you just put those things together, hey, we are in 100% agreement with that. And I also love sex. Not with dudes, though, but you understand what I'm saying. All right, first of all, I'm going to pause here because there's a lot to take in this scene. There's a lot of police. There's a lot of people. It doesn't really seem to be well organized. I don't hear no music playing like there's a concert going on. This was just a bunch of people gathering, drinking, smoking, and being unruly. But there's also gates. I don't know if you can see the gates in here, meaning that they set this up on purpose. They knew that they were going to let people come down there. They had certain gates and barriers and what, oh my God. Y'all, you know what? Got to bring it over to you. Check out this batch right here. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for anybody who lives in New York. I love New York. I'm originally from New York. But what is really good? Like, what's really good, y'all? We can't get this many people together for nothing really effective. Just to come out there. There was a dude in the earlier shot that was butt-ass naked. We got this person who is an orgasm donor. Not gonna lie, I like the shirt. I wouldn't wear this little ass joint with the belly out, but I could possibly see putting on a shirt like that. You'd have to ask my wife if it's. But this is a lot going on, but I don't see any organization to it, and that's where things get crazy, is it's not organized. Askew Jew is saying that Jersey has a black bear problem. Now, is it, if you don't like black bears, is that racist? Or is it just, I don't want a bear to maul me? Because I'm not a big fan of black bears, brown bears, polar bears. Only bears I'm cool with is like teddy bears. I'm all right with teddy bears and gummy bears. Other than that, you can keep your bears, okay? I don't even like koala bears. They seem weird to me, kind of creepy. Anyway, I'm not in NY. I got a bunch of family there, I got a bunch of friends up there, and everybody's saying the same thing Ascending Phoenix is saying in my chat right now, which is nothing is good right now in NYC. I've heard there's been a recent change to who might be running for mayor, and they're worried about this dude being like, I'm not even going to say the words. They're just worried about this new guy. And it seems like some people are worried, some people aren't. But similar to when Trump got elected, some people were worried, some people weren't. And now we're dealing with the fallout from either choice, right? So I don't know New York, but this is y'all. This is y'all. I'm just not even, okay, all right, calm it down, bro. So he's saying that this is all that they do to the police. I don't understand this protest or this gathering. Like, here's the thing. If you don't have a permit to be in the middle of somewhere with that many people, the police are going to show up and somebody's going to get arrested. May not be you, depending on your behavior or how you deal with the officers. But if you look at this, there are cops everywhere. They got the bicycle cops. They probably had some cops on horses down there. The whole police force is down there at a pride parade, basically. Why? To be honest, that's like the softest group. In most cases, like, you don't really worry about rioting when the pride parade is going on. You see what I'm saying? Like, the pride folks aren't running around just breaking windows and just, oh my God, like, they don't normally do that. They're a little risque visually at times, but they don't seem as destructive. They're dirty, as you can see, left trash everywhere, but they're not knocking down monuments and doing all that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So normally you don't need as much physicality when it comes to those kind of protests or those kind of events. But I'm just going to say right now, anybody that's watching this show, if you're going to go to an event where there's going to be a lot of people in the middle of a public area, and there's going to be alcohol and some other things there, expect to get arrested. It is what it is. They need to start filling up these spaces in the jails as they're getting people in and out. So you're just helping them keep their quotas. I think we should stop doing shit like this. I think we should get to the point where if you took all them people, if all them people had money, and they wouldn't even have to have a lot of money. All them people could have $10, and we could rent out a huge villa somewhere, and everybody comes out and they have fun there. Instead of going to Washington Square in the middle of the city. You see what I'm saying? So it's kind of like when you show up to stuff like this, don't you expect something to happen? Don't you expect there to be a problem? There wasn't even a concert going on. See, that's what they needed. Sometimes all you need to calm the crowd is the right music. You got some music playing, people will calm the hell down. But if you just got folks standing around drinking, it's hot, bear spray is flying around, the police are telling you can't walk down this street and that street, it's bound to get a little crazy. But what I will say is, as I mentioned, they didn't burn nothing down either when this was going on. So shouts to the Pride Parade folks. But I don't want this job. Like, when I was a kid, I never was like, yo, I want to be a cop. Even before I had bad interactions with police or heard anything bad about police. I knew who they were, what they were, but I never wanted that job for some reason. Like even with the gunslinging, which seemed kind of cool, never really wanted that job. And now that I look at it as an adult, 95% of the police are stuck in shit like this. Standing around because somebody done decided to have a gathering in the middle of the damn park, and we got to make sure that the public safety is protected so that they don't block streets. This is their work day. Like, I don't want that job. I don't want to be locking up this dude who might be enjoying the fact that I'm on his back a little too much. Like, I don't want to have any parts of that. It just seems like a shitty job. Like, I'm sorry to the officers that really want to do right for the community, and instead of being able to do anything, y'all are just standing around watching gay parades or pride parades, because it's not only gay people at a pride parade. So you're watching the pride parade, and that's your job for like a whole day. You go to work, and they're like, nah, don't sit down. We got to go downtown and stand around while the pride parade or pride gathering, because we're not even sure what this was. And this is definitely a sign of the times about how quick information moves around, and nobody even knows how they organize this stuff this fast. But I'm telling you, these guys, it's a shitty job. And look at them, they all got at least 2 or 3 pairs of handcuffs on them. Like, we know we're going to be locking some people up today. So let's grab a few sets and go downtown. But yeah, I'm telling you, a little bit of music would have calmed all that down. And I still, like I said, do not have full context on why they were bear spraying. So hold up. This person right here. I don't know what is going on. This one. First of all, isn't it hot outside? Why do you have this big hot ass long sleeve on while the person next to you has on a beater? Look at this. Look at the difference in outfit here. You got spring, winter, and fall all in the same shot. In New York. I know it's hot as hell up there. Why are you, and you're not even a small person. Let me stop. I'm going to get in trouble for hate speech or whatever the hell it is today. Freaking algorithm. Bunch of softies. I'm not going to lie. Our algorithm is soft as hell over here on YouTube. Can't say nothing. But New York, this is y'all. This is y'all. All right, I don't really understand it. I'm sorry. It seems like if you had music and it was a concert, this would have been kind of awesome. But it just seems like a bunch of people gathered, left a bunch of trash. Somebody got bear sprayed. I do not believe that the bear spraying was like just in an attempt to piss off the whole crowd. I think an altercation probably popped off. Somebody got bear sprayed. And if you don't know much about bear spray and pepper spray, that shit can go everywhere. So anybody that's close by or walking by, they could get hit with the side of it, and they'll feel the same effect, maybe to a lesser effect than the person that got the direct hit, but they're going to feel it. Not going to lie, I pepper sprayed myself one time. All right, I'll tell you the story. I pepper sprayed myself one time, okay? Let me tell you how I did it. I had some pepper spray. Bear spray, whatever you want to call it, spray. And it was one of them little canisters, the one you put the little, you put your thumb on it, it comes out. And so I hit the canister thing, but I happened to be standing like in front of a building, and the spray hit the brick on the side of the building, like the wall that was next to me, and bounced off and came right back in my face. So I actually pepper sprayed myself. And it hurt like shit. But I couldn't blame anybody but myself, so I just, had to deal with it. And I'm going to be honest, you guys here on the chat are probably the first people I've really told that story to outside of very close family, because it makes me feel stupid as hell. Like, what you think was going to happen if you're pepper spraying? Reckless spray. So nonetheless, I'm done with the whole Pride Parade thing. It's July 1st now, so good. That month is over. Moving on. Let's see what we got here. All right. Why is my phone still up? Sebastian Pelega knows what I'm talking about. Sebastian Pelega. Oh, okay, we're back on the camera now. Sorry, guys. All right, back to the show. So, yeah, just for anybody out there, if you don't know and you're trying to find out, pepper spray hurts. All right? You guys understand that, right? Pepper spray hurts. So, as we get into our next segment here, I want to check and make sure. Why am I not seeing? Whoa. All right. It's saying I'm not even live right now, but obviously I am because you guys are talking to me in the chat. So I don't know what that's about. But okay. We're going to roll with that. I think I see what it is, but I'm not going to deal with that. So, guys, I'm going to bring you into our next segment here because we're about to get into the serious part, okay? We're about to get into the serious shit. I had a lot of people hit me up telling me about this damn big, beautiful bill. And there seems to be a lot of mixed feelings about that. So for you guys in the chat, just preliminarily from what you know already, is there anybody that feels that the big, beautiful bill will tank the American economy and throw us into a recession that we won't, or depression that we won't easily recover from? Is there anybody that feels like that in my chat? And feel free to go ahead and put that in there if you feel like that. We're going to have a discussion about it. Now, I want to bring up this next person. You're not even going to want. Well, I'm not going to say you're not going to want to see it. It's just we don't like this lady that much, right? Oh, it's right here. Oh, I found the first one. Yo, I knew I was going to find it. Before I move into this next thing, the first clip I wanted to bring up, I finally found it. So y'all can now enjoy it with me. Hold on a second, please. All right. So this was the clip I was trying to find earlier that I could not find. I want you to hear what this gentleman has to say. Y'all tune in.
Bro, you know what's so crazy? I wake up every single day, and before I leave the house and go anywhere in public, I load up my firearm for black people. Not saying that no other race won't do nothing or no shit like that, but ultimately, bro, I'm not worrying about a white nigga or a Mexican nigga when I go out in public. I'm worried about niggas, bro. Like, you might walk into a store and a nigga might look at you the wrong way, and now y'all niggas beefing just because this nigga looked at you the wrong type of way. Like, this shit is crazy as hell. Like, think about this shit, bro. Like, I can go somewhere and a white person will speak to you like, hey, how you doing? But you go anywhere and see a group of niggas, it like you automatically got to get on 10. Like,
now, I'm going to say, he did say a group of niggas, okay? I've been in spaces with people of color where they are very gracious and accepting and things like that. It's not everywhere you go just because the people there are melanated that they're going to be standoffish. But in certain circles, in certain places, that is 100% true. But I just want I want to at least fact check that. It's not everywhere you go, but if you go to a place with a bunch of niggas, and you know what I'm talking about, then yes, they wonder who you are, where are you from, who's your peoples, why are you even here, who invited you. They got all the questions in the world for you. All the questions in the world. So
Niggas damn, they don't want to speak.
that is true.
None of this shit. Like, bro, this shit is crazy as fuck. What the fuck is wrong with us, bro? Like, this shit need to stop. Like, my nigga, I was just at the beach, right? And the little chick I was with, she had said some shit out the window. And the niggas heard it, bro. Like, it automatically became tension between us. Like, me and my homeboy got out the car, and them niggas just looking, clutching and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? That shit crazy than a motherfucker. But you go out in public, every other race goddamn speak to you, but it's us that goddamn be trying to destroy each other, gang. That shit is wild as a motherfucker when you sit here and think about it. Like, what the fuck is wrong with us, bro?
All right. Now, with all due respect, the gentleman started the video by saying he loads up a firearm every day because he's worried about people that look like him. Now, I would venture to say this guy's not a Rhodes Scholar, okay? He probably, just based on all of the wonderful aesthetic in the background here, I would assume that he's not living in the best area. Got a cell phone, obviously, or some camera and laptop situation. Maybe he's got a Chromebook. I don't know. What I'm trying to make is, if you put yourself in different spaces, you have different things to worry about. That's the honest truth. If you put yourself in different spaces, you have different things to worry about. If you are on edge about people of color before you leave your house, maybe that person that you think is staring at you ain't really staring at you. Maybe they're just looking in that direction. They don't even notice your ass. But you over here clutching with this. What are you looking at? What are you looking at? You're not even looking at you. A lot of times people don't even care that you're there. They don't care. But we have programmed ourselves to be on the defensive whenever we go places that have to do with black people. But it's not just black people. I'm sure y'all heard the other day some sniper decided to shoot firefighters that were responding to a fire. Like, there's some wild, stupid-ass people out here doing wild, stupid-ass stuff. And I don't understand why, because we have so much more that we need to be doing to coexist on this planet, other than just doing wild, stupid stuff. But it's like we seem to glorify it, so black culture is screwed in that regard. You had a 12-year-old in the beginning of this video, not this video, but in the beginning of this episode, saying that he thinks the hood is the place of opportunity. And I would say the hood is the opposite of opportunity. It's a dangerous place, and it doesn't matter who lives there. It's because the people who live there don't have a lot. The war is between the haves and the have-nots, not the black and the white, not light-skinned black people versus dark-skinned black people, not Asians versus Palestinians. It's none of that. It's who got it and who don't got it. And if you don't got it, you get treated a certain way. And if you do got it, you get treated a certain way. So the goal is, if you're a have-not, you want to become one of the haves. That's the goal. Unfortunately, they don't offer a lot of outlets to go from being a have-not to a have unless you have an athletic prowess, like you're really good at a sport. You can do it that way. You could be a savant, like a genius, and they find you, right? But it's really hard to be a genius in a place full of idiots, because it's really hard to differentiate. Here's the thing. If you're a straight A student in a class full of failing people, are you that smart, or is the rest of the class just that dumb? Who knows? So it makes it so you can't be seen because you're surrounded by a bunch of debauchery and goofiness. You got to understand, and what's very important,
the jackassery has to stop.
It has to stop. It has to stop, okay? The jackassery has to stop. But it's on all levels. So I don't want y'all to think I'm just talking about hood black people. It's just this guy said something interesting about the fact that he's strapping up every day because he's worried about other black people. Let me tell you what. Everybody's worried about everybody. But there is a segment of violent people. And because of propaganda and what we've seen in terms of metrics and logistics, yes, disproportionately, you got to worry more about black people. And that sucks. And that really sucks, man. And the hood is a trap. Like you said, Sebastian, the hood is a trap. And that's why we're going to get into this episode. So let me get him off the screen so I can do my thing. Done with this guy. Don't get it twisted. Do not get it twisted. I understand, a lot of people love the hood and all that kind of stuff, but I'm not with that shit. I'm not going to be honest. I'm going to be very honest with you. I wish I could get everybody out of it, but it's a mentality. A mentality that they've been feeding for a number of years, and it seems like now we are about to get into a place where things are going to get real goofy and real crazy. That's why I got to bring you into our full segment today. So I'm going to start with an exposure that happened recently, and then I'm going to get into our big, beautiful BS as a result, and then we're going to talk about that, okay? So I want everybody, just keep in mind, you're going to have to hit the like button. You're going to have to share this. Anytime I have these real conversations, this is not what the algorithm wants. They want pure entertainment. I'm not about just entertaining. I'm about educating, okay? So because of that, they definitely come for us a little bit differently. If I was just doing debauchery and out on the street pranking people, they'd have no issues. They'd have no issues. But the second I'm trying to uplift people, have them think, be self-aware, self-improve, build families again, those kind of conversations, they don't want you to have that. They don't want you to have that. So recently, a story came down the pipeline about the biggest healthcare fraud
far beyond
that has ever been documented. The FBI is about to go after a bunch of healthcare fraudulence that they found. And this is going to lead us right into the second part of it about that big, beautiful bill and the changes to Medicaid, Medicare, and the rest of it. So I want y'all to watch this clip. This is, I forgot what the guy's name is, and it really doesn't matter. But the Department of Justice is announcing the largest coordinated healthcare fraud investigation in agency history. We're talking billions and billions of dollars. And I want you to hear the scheme and what they've allowed to happen. Check this out.
beyond our borders. The FBI's Operation Gold Rush resulted in the largest amount of loss charged in a healthcare fraud case brought by the Department of Justice. More than 20 members of a criminal organization based in Russia and elsewhere were charged for their roles in a $10 billion Medicare fraud and international money laundering conspiracy. The organization allegedly used a network of foreign straw owners, including individuals sent into the United States from abroad, who acting at the direction of others overseas, strategically bought dozens of medical supply companies that were enrolled in Medicare and located across the United States. After the organization gained control of the companies, it rapidly submitted billions of dollars in fraudulent healthcare claims that were never ordered by doctors, requested by patients, or provided to anyone. In doing so, the defendants are alleged to have exploited the identities of over 1 million Americans spanning all 50 states by using their confidential medical information to submit the fraudulent claims. This not only illustrates just how global these schemes have become, but how advanced and coordinated they are becoming. In Atlanta, 5 people, including 3 medical professionals, were charged with manipulating the price of skin grafts and forcing services on patients that were not medically necessary. In this case, Medicare was scammed out of $760 million. And in Phoenix, we opened an investigation after receiving a complaint about suspicious billing to Arizona Medicaid. It led us to a network of sober living homes that were supposed to be helping those struggling with drug and alcohol addiction, many of whom were Native Americans. Instead, this was a massive fraud scheme that billed for services that were never actually provided.
Hold on a second. I didn't know Native Americans had drug problems. But that was what they used as they called it like a straw owner, which is a person who owns something by name, but they have no actual power in it. So imagine somebody from Russia comes to you and says, look, we're trying to build a business in the U.S. They won't sell us anything, but we'll give you X amount of dollars if you'll buy the business under your name, and we'll cut you off a certain amount per month, but we run it. And so that's basically what happened. And they found a bunch of these companies were connected to, or at least what they say, they were connected to Russian and foreign assets. So, like I said, I don't know. I didn't see it happen, but this is what they're saying. So I'm just going over what they're saying, okay?
The sober living home facilities owned by ProMD received more than $560 million for services that were not provided.
Damn, $560 million?
Those are just some of the investigations that were part of this initiative. As these threats grow more complex and transnational, the FBI and our law enforcement partners must continue to evolve, stay ahead of the curve, and meet the challenges with equal force. Reducing federal healthcare spending, stopping fraud and waste, and controlling costs isn't just about budgets. It's about protecting the integrity of programs millions of Americans depend on. And we will not tolerate those who put personal gain above patient care. Remember, you can always report suspected healthcare fraud to your local FBI office or call 1-800-FBI-TIPS.
Thanks, Sebastian. Sorry about that. My question here is, how long did they allow this to go on? And why would they allow it to go on for so long? When you rack up 560 million here and 10 billion there, that's not overnight. That takes years to do that. Because if you do it too fast, you get caught, right? So I think the problem is at the end of a lot of this, you're going to find some of our U.S. politicians who are actually funding. Sebastian Palega, thank you for the super chat over there. Appreciate that. See if I can bring up the super chats this time. I've been meaning to do that. Because I can't see them. I just see that one came in, but I can't see what was said. Activity? Yeah. Activity. All right, it's not coming up. But Sebastian, thank you. Okay, thank you for your super chat. I could probably see it on the other end here. But I think we need to understand that they're talking about cutting something, well, stopping waste and fraud, but all this money is gone. Who are you going to sue? Who's getting arrested? I'm going to tell you right now, if I don't see nobody get arrested, I don't want to hear about this shit. I don't. You're not going to tell me that you can find waste of billions of dollars and nobody goes to jail. Meanwhile, if I don't pay my taxes for 2 or 3 years, I got a problem. It sounds like crap in a grand sense. You're going to tell me that now we're going to investigate this after billions of dollars is already funneled into whatever the hell it paid for. Now we're going to do it? Nah, I think what they're going to do is stretch the shit out like they be stretching it out because they want everybody to think that they cutting stuff that they're not actually cutting. And I think that is part of our issue. So the question becomes, what side do you take here? How much do I care if a federal program gets taken advantage of? If it's our people versus a foreign entity? That's the real question here. Like, if it's Russians doing it, then I'm pissed off about it. But if somebody's hungry and they happen to not put a piece of information on an application so that they can qualify for food, I'm not so mad about that. I'll be honest with you. I'm not super mad about that. Because if you have to do that, most likely you do have to do that. And a lot of us are going to say, no, you don't. You can go get a job. You can go do this. You can go do that. Well, you know what? I would love to agree with you on that. But there's some limitations to this shit. So with this whole investigation, we'll see where it goes. But if you're telling me that this has been done over the course of years and a bunch of organizations that do or do not have actual physical owners, or straw owners, like a person that you could create a person. A lot of y'all don't know that. You can literally create a person digitally that exists as an entity, but they don't actually walk the planet. And they can have an EIN number, like an employer identification number. They can literally be an employer and not be a physical person. I know it sounds weird, but yes, that's where the U.S. is now. And it started months ago. I told y'all about that thing with USAID when I did that investigation. And I found a bunch of shell companies that weren't doing what they said they was going to do, and nobody believed me. Then the government jumps up on there and says, hey, guess what we found? And they say the same thing I said. So if I can find it that easily, why does it take them so long to find it? You know why? Because there's a lot of people getting paid from it that are the ones who call it when it's time to pull it. So they'll be like, all right, I've made enough. It's time to act like I'm doing something right. So I'm going to pull it now. And that was what people said that Donald Trump was doing. He remembered the problems from the years before that were left. And so he ran on those issues because he knew they were pinch issues, and people voted on that, and that allowed him to do other things that he's doing now. So speaking of other things that he's doing now, I wanted to bring this clip over to you of Marjorie Taylor Greene. And there's a reason for that. I'm not a big Marjorie Taylor Greene fan. I think she'd be doing too much. She reminds me of a person that calls the police because you're having a cookout at your house. Like at 2 in the afternoon. It's too loud. Like one of those. That's just my personal opinion. But that doesn't mean the woman's not smart. It doesn't mean that she doesn't necessarily deserve to have her job. But I'm just saying she's annoying to me in a general sense. But I appreciate the fact that she is honest in some things. And she jumped on Tucker Carlson's joint the other day. Let me bring that up. Hold on. And she had a lot to say. She really did. Now, granted, we're not going to go through the whole situation here. I'm going to pick one good chapter here. Let's go here.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to go here. All right, so Sebastian, I finally saw the super chat here. Thank you for the $2 super chat and reminding me that I was muted at that point. You guys are the best in the chat because I be moving and I'm running the whole production independently. So sometimes I do miss out on things. And so I want you guys to see this clip of MTG. I want y'all to tell me what you think about it, okay? Yep. All right, so she jumps on to Tucker Carlson's show. Tucker Carlson been killing it lately, by the way. Like I said, he's corny to me, but he gets everybody on there, and he seems to be an honest interviewer. That's what I feel about Tucker. He asks some good questions of people, questions that I would ask if I was sitting in front of him, and he does get good answers, thought out answers. And if they give him some bullshit, he normally bites back a little bit. So I give him some respect on that. So we had MTG on there, and she decided to talk about a few things. It's a long interview. I'm not going to play the whole thing. I'm going to play 1 or 2 segments. But we'll start with this one.
Yeah, so the question is, do the people who really do care about the United States give up and leave, the party, the movement, or not? I mean, New York City was built by, hardworking, sober Christian people, and they built this amazing city. And then, of course, they all left because it became chaotic starting in the 60s, and they're all gone. And that's why you get the election results you do. Yeah. They just ran away, and they moved to the suburbs or Montana or wherever. They have a tendency, productive people have a tendency to do that. They don't stay and fight. They're like, I don't want to deal with this. I'm out.
Yeah, they don't have to stay in the fight.
Well, that's true. But do you see that happen with America First? Do you, like, in 5 years, are people going to be like, when Mark Levin and Laura Loomer built America First with Tom Cotton and Lindsey Graham,
right?
Like, they're the heroes of the movement,
right?
Like the Soviets redefined the Bolshevik Revolution to make, Stalin the head of it.
Oh, totally.
You know what I mean?
I mean, Laura Loomer is America First,
right? I mean,
except Israel first.
But is that going to happen? Do you think that people who really think that we need a government that focuses on the country it represents, will those people stick around and say, no, I'm sorry, you can't. I can see through your skin suit. I know who you are. This is all fake. You can't use my government, my military to prosecute these silly sectarian wars anymore.
Right. I don't know. I'm going to be really honest. I don't know. I think it goes one of two ways.
They can kick you out, then I think we'll know the answer.
Oh, for sure. They would love to. They're already trying to. I had 3 reporters, literally. Was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. 3 reporters, one from Punch Bowl, one from Axios, and one from the Wall Street Journal. And I know who they're connected to people. And they came and they were asking me the same stupid questions, trying to make this like she's betrayed Trump. She's broken up with Trump. She's turned her back on him, which couldn't be further from the truth. But they're setting the stage because they want these headlines, right?
So the Wall Street Journal is now kind of looking out for Trump.
Oh, totally. Yeah, the Wall Street.
Just enforcing loyalty in the Trump ranks.
Yes. Yeah. And Punch Bowl, obviously. And
they're very concerned.
Yeah, and
they don't want to see any leaking or disloyalty against Donald Trump.
Those are MAGA publications, let me tell you.
This is too funny. It's too unbelievable.
But it's so predictable.
I know. But I do think and one of the reasons I'm so grateful that you flew all the way from your real job to come see us is that I think it's important to know whether you're going to fight for the movement that you've been in since 2016 and are really identified with. I mean, when you got to Congress, you were so for Trump and his ideas that your own party tried to expel you from the Congress.
Exactly. Literally.
They hated Trump.
Oh, they still hate him.
You hear that? She said the Republicans still hate Trump. Listen to that. She gonna catch some flack for this. When was this, yesterday? Day before yesterday. So it was 2 days ago. All right. Yeah, it was on the weekend.
I serve with so many people that hate his guts. Hate him. Hate him.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And I have argued with them so many times. I'm like, I love him. I love the man. I don't care about his flaws, whatever. I love him. Yeah. I love his fight. Yes. I love his passion. I love the fact that you cannot beat him. He will beat anybody and he will not give up. And that's what I love about President Trump.
Yeah.
But I serve with people that hate him. And right now they're having to do the dance. They have to play the game. They have to say the words, and they're all pretending. They're literally pretending, and they can't wait. To them right now, President Trump is a speed bump. They just have to get past that speed bump then they will. It's only a few years away. They just have to play the game long enough and do the deed and not get a Truth Social put out on them or have him, primary them or endorse an opponent against them. They have to do that. And then after that, it's going to be back to business as usual. Because you wouldn't believe it. Like the bills that we're putting together, the lobbyists that are coming in, tucking in what they want, big donors. Oh my goodness, the donors that came on board in this last election, new donors, totally different donors than we've ever had before. These big, I'm
going to pause this, but she is spitting right now. She is spitting. Hate Marjorie Taylor Greene all you want, but the level of honesty that she's spitting right now, I respect it. I'm not a fan of hers. I'll tell you that right now. Not a big fan. I'd love to have her on Purge BS. I'd interview her similar to Tucker. But what I'm saying is I appreciate when these folks are authentic. And she's basically saying, look, everybody's down there playing the game. People didn't like him when he was running, but they knew he was a winning ticket. So they had to jump on board in order to be on that winning ticket. Now they're using that winning ticket to put in stuff that the lobbyists wanted them to put in. These companies and these energy groups and these foreign entities are all over it because Trump is always trying to make a deal. So if they make it sound good for business, he's all for it. Even if he's not fully understanding who's really involved in these things. So thank you, Marjorie Taylor Greene, for that. I'm gonna give her 2 more minutes because of her honesty, honestly. I'm gonna give her an applause for that. She gets that. First ever Marjorie Taylor Greene applause on Purge the BS. You guys witnessed it. She actually said something that I liked, and I appreciate it.
Like the AI tech bros, cryptos come around. There's a whole circle of donors that have all come around. Those aren't the only ones. and then you always have the military
vultures.
industrial complex.
The vultures.
All of them have come around and they're demanding their little things. And that's what they have all tried to tuck into the one big beautiful bill. So it's business as usual in Washington.
It's always been that way to some extent, of course, always. What I find different from what I thought it was anyway is this obsessive love of violence.
Mm-hmm.
That, like Tom Cotton, you could have dinner with him and disagree on anything. But if you raise a voice against bombing people, like Tom Cotton is upset. Like he wants to be able to kill people, period.
Yeah, I know a lot of my colleagues want to kill people.
What is that?
I think it's in darkness.
What's up with him?
We're a country. Think about our culture. Ever since I was a little kid, we had movies that we saw movies where Russia's the bad guy and the hero in the story defeats the bad Russian, or there's a war movie where we defeat Russia or China, or it's whoever the bad guy is.
Yes.
And then the movies where we had war movies of defeating Afghanistan, Iraq, Iran, all these movies. And we've grown up with Hollywood telling us who the foreign bad guys are.
Yes.
And making these people our complete enemies and never humanizing them. And so, yes, and there's just this obsession with war and killing and murder.
Yes.
And that is sick. It's sick that America is cheering that we bombed another country. Now, okay, let's look at that. Yes, Iran is that they sponsor terrorism. They have killed our military, but our military never belonged over in the Middle East in the first place.
Of course.
I'll argue that all day long. But however, when people that hold power in Washington, D.C., like I do, but everyone I work with is just over the top excited that we may be going to war to kill people. They never...
What?
They never think about the innocent people, or they don't care about the innocent people.
It makes them feel powerful. What do you think of when you think of
Well,
June?
we're going to stop right there because Tucker's about to do his advertisement. But, wow. I'm just going to say, wow. I'm not a big Marjorie Taylor Greene fan, but she was spitting. If you want to catch that, the full interview, I'll add a link somewhere later into the description because I don't have the one that's on YouTube. Because this was the one that came across X, Tucker Carlson's page on X. But there is, Sebastian, we'll find a way to do that for the next episode. I need to find, I actually have a way to patch in phone calls. I want to do a live call-in show, but I'm not going to do all that if everybody's not, at least contributing to the content. Because I'll be honest with you, it's hard to run the damn boards and do the show at the same time. It is. So because of that, it requires, needs some motivation, all right? So if you're feeling like doing what Sebastian Palega just did just a couple minutes ago, you want to send a super chat, or if you would like to donate directly to Freeman Services, go to www.freemansvcs, it's freemanservices.org/shop, okay? Go in there, check out some of our items. We got hats, all types of stuff in there, Purge the BS merch as well, and Freeman Services merch. So we've had some issues with keeping the store connected to this YouTube channel, so that's probably why you don't see a link for it right now. I'm working with them on that, but it's never been easy. So if anybody has any recommendations for a company that can host these kind of things better than Wix, I'm all for it. But yeah, we'll find a way to start dealing with sharing videos and all of that. But for real, all of that, you got to come up on the panel. You got to come up. You want to share, we're going to have to bring you up. I'll put you up on the Zoom and we'll bring you up. But nonetheless, I want to give Marjorie Taylor Greene, like I said, I gave her an applause earlier because that was about as honest as I've heard her be ever when it comes to what's going on in Washington. Now, she's got a lot of enemies down there, but some of it's because she's probably not the nicest person to work with. And other parts of it could be because she doesn't want these altercations. The military-industrial complex that she mentioned is the most important financial gainer for the U.S. Everybody knows war makes money, right? War makes money. So to the people downtown, and when I say downtown, I mean Washington, if there's no war, there's no money. There's no justification for sending millions of dollars to this foreign land for whatever it needs to be. There's no justification for building these new missiles and rockets. If there's no threats, there's no reason to have all this cool military stuff. There's no reason to keep building it. Like, we don't need 10,000 planes if nobody's coming over here to mess with us and we need to use any of these damn planes. Even when we sent the fleet a week or so ago, it was like 100 planes, a couple of drones. There was a lot going on, right? It wasn't even a fraction of how much stuff we have. So to me, it's kind of like, I feel like we got too much stuff. You know, the U.S. has well over 5,000 available nuclear warheads, enough to destroy the Earth like 10 times over. Why do we need that much of that shit? I don't know. They never asked me about it. But I'm just saying, a lot of that stuff doesn't make sense to me. So Marjorie Taylor Greene, you're okay with me at least for the next 24 hours until you start wilding out in Congress again. But for right now, we cool. I appreciate that. But I'm done with that piece of it. Let me get to the real shit. Sebastian, you got it. War is a company. Netanyahu knows it. Everybody knows it. We all know it. You can't even change presidents in certain places or leadership in certain places if there's an active war going on. That's how I believe, that's what people say is how Netanyahu and Zelensky have stayed in power for extended periods of time. They start a conflict continues, and they have to stay in office. So let me help you guys with what she did mention about this big, beautiful bill. Because I, your wonderful host, Papa Purge, I took some time. I took some time to look into it because everybody was telling me about the first thing and the most important thing that they wanted me to know was they're about to cut $300 billion in SNAP benefits. And I said, well, hold on a second. How are you just going to cut people off of food? See, SNAP is food. It's I forgot what the acronym is for SNAP, but it's food. There's cash assistance, which is TCA, I think it is, whatever that is. And then you got SNAP, which is food stamps, which is just food, right? Now, you can have both of those things kind of melted together on the same card. I've seen people that have that. And then some people have different things. You got disability, you got these other things. But SNAP is food. SNAP is what is feeding the children in schools who don't have dollars in this big, beautiful bill. And how we're going to offset it is we are going to put a work requirement on anybody who receives SNAP who is not physically, notice the word physical, because I'm going to come back to that in a minute, physically disabled. So let me share what that is for those that don't know. Now, granted, y'all in my chat, y'all are all rich, even though y'all don't send a lot of super chats to support the channel, but it's because you got bills and you drive Ferrari, so I understand. But this is not going to affect a person that just doesn't qualify for these kind of benefits. Some of us have been making more than enough our whole lives, and we never qualify. But then there's a group of people that qualify now, and they're trying to make it so they don't qualify, and I'm going to show you how. So they're putting an 80-hour work requirement on SNAP benefit receiver, okay? And when I'm saying SNAP here, I'm just talking about food. So what that means is if you work, you have to work 80 hours a month at minimum wage in order to receive SNAP benefits. Because at 80 hours a month, $7.25 an hour, which is like the general minimum wage that we know of, you'll make about $580 a month. You'll still qualify for SNAP, but less of it. You make $10 an hour. Now, this is with the 80-hour situation, okay? You'll still qualify for SNAP, just less of it. I'm going to take you down how that actually works. So here's where it gets really evil. They designed this 80-hour requirement to keep you in part-time poverty. Now, before now, you didn't have to work to receive SNAP. You just had to be unable to work or unemployed and have like some kids or something. So people just didn't work and they were able to, redetermine every 6 months or so, and they would go back to the office and say, hey, I'm still not working, and there was no work requirement. So there you go. So people stayed on it for years, generations even. Well, now that's all going to change. And here's why. Most people that have a decent amount of skill, whatever that skill is, are not going to get paid $7.25 an hour. They're not. They're going to get paid $10 to $15, maybe $20 an hour, right? So if you work 20 hours a week, you get benefits. But if you work full time, you get cut off. Now, let me blow your mind with some math. Since, like I said, this one's for the nerds and the people that are actually interested in what this Medicare SNAP cut looks like. Not just on paper, but what it looks like aesthetically to the family dynamic, okay? A full-time working man making $10 an hour. Yes, $10 an hour, that low-ass wage, that's $1,600 a month gross, okay? Sounds like a decent amount of money. Like you could do something with $1,600, but let me let you know, at $10 an hour working full-time, you do not qualify for food anymore. You are over the threshold. So that means a person making $10 an hour is making too much to get help. And so they lose all of their SNAP benefits. So that same $1,600 a month, now they got to pay for employer-based benefits. That'll probably cost them about $200 or so, right? Taking that $1,600 down to $1,400 a month. Don't let them have a rent. Where can you find a place to live for less than $1,000? You can't. So let's just say $1,000. So that means they have what, roughly $400 left for their vehicle, for their food, for their children in a month. And hold on, you know what? Forget the vehicle or any other subscription type of service that you may be part of. The government wants you to make $10 an hour and survive. And they're going to put a work requirement on these people, whomever they are. Some people don't make that low-ass wage, so it's not going to affect you like that. It's not. It just is what it is. What you'll be affected by at the higher wage is tax cuts. So there's some benefits for the higher earners. It's the low-income people that are about to get caught in some real serious bullshit. So imagine this. A person working part-time at the same wage gets free health care and SNAP benefits. We're just using $10 an hour. Like I said, a lot of people don't make $10 an hour no more. That type of wage is for starting and young people. But if you're a grown-up making $10 an hour, that's a tough life, I'm trying to tell you. But up until now, you could at least receive some supplemental benefits in health care and food. And you could still work if you were making that amount. Now, well, actually, you had to make it's $1,580 a month is the threshold. So let me let you understand that. $1,580 is the threshold. You make $10 an hour, working full time, you go over that threshold by $20 and you lose all benefits. Everything. No Medicare, no nothing. The best you can get is maybe you'll qualify for Obamacare, the healthcare marketplace, so you can get a discounted health insurance, but you'll still pay premiums monthly. They'll be cheap. You'll still have to pay co-pays, but basically you can't live on that shit. And that's the expectation. They're forcing people back into the workforce to hit a number that's not even a livable number, and then they will drop you off of all of these benefits. So that's why people don't go to work when they're getting these SNAP benefits. But now they're going to force you to go to work. And unless you can get somebody to pay you, $3.25 an hour working full time, you're not going to qualify for shit. No food, no Medicare, no nothing. Get out of here. Get out of the office. Don't come back to redetermine in 6 months. Now, I must let you know these numbers are based on a household of just one person. As we all know, When you add children, these limits go up a little bit more, okay? But the general problem is, after fully calculating this, you have to make, and this goes for everybody, you have to make at least $25 an hour full-time to actually survive in America today. Anything less, you're financially better staying part-time and taking government assistance. So if you're not making $25, this is literally math. I did the math. Oh, let me make sure my eye don't look good. I did the math for you. So y'all don't have to go do it. I went and did it. You have to make at least $25 an hour full-time to survive in America, because you'll have to pay for your health insurance. You'll have to pay for your food. And this is survival, but it doesn't mean you're living a good life. It doesn't mean you're happy and you got money to just travel and do whatever. This just means that you can survive. And that's it. You're not really living, you just surviving. And that's not laziness if a person decides to work part-time and get SNAP benefits. It's because they don't have a skill set high enough to earn the 25. I haven't done the full research on how many actual companies have a starting hourly salary of $25 or more per hour. That's roughly like 52 grand a year, something like that. So if you're not making, I'm just telling you, everybody, you heard it here first. Don't believe the bullshit in the big, beautiful bill when they're saying, yeah, we're not taking people off of Medicare. They're not. People are going to naturally come off of it because they have to go to work, and the work requirement is going to make them have to either work part-time at a very low wage, or if they work at $10 an hour full-time, they're going to lose the coverage anyway. So that's not a cut. They're not really cutting it. They're just making it so you won't qualify for it. If you want to survive, you got to make way more than that. So once you get to that $10 price point, here we go. You have nothing. So let me tell you how that works out. For anybody else who's lived in this world, you would understand that the big, beautiful bill is not necessarily just bad economics. It's family warfare. You know why? Because 99% of domestic violence cases and divorces involve financial issues. Being broke. Being frustrated with being broke. So if you're in a household and let's say one person don't work and the other person does work and the other person's making $10 an hour above the threshold, but there's two people in that, let's go with $15 an hour. Let's make it fair. All right. So let's say you got a dude in the house and a woman in the house. And this is an old thing. Y'all have heard of this before. This is how it started, but this is how it's going to end too. The dude in the house, he's making however much money. $15 an hour. He's over the threshold. Woman has one child, not working. The guy's income will disqualify the woman. So that's why they were getting rid of men in the household. Back in the welfare time. People didn't believe this as a thing, but if you're looking at the math, back then a lot of women didn't have the qualifications to have jobs that were really high earning, and that's when women started going back to school and all that happened over the last 20 years or so, right? But initially they didn't have that. So there was no way that them going to work was going to help. So what they did was they either got rid of the dude that was in the house or lied about him being there so that they could collect benefits. Then later on, the government came back to this woman or these women and said, you know what? We want our money back because you tried to have an intact family with us helping you out. And we don't want to help you have an intact family. You want to have an intact family, you're going to have to do that on your own. We're not helping you with that. We'll help you be by yourself. We'll help you eliminate the structure of the nuclear family in your house. So when you trap people in an economic distress, both people are frustrated. It leads to arguments, and some people become unhinged in these arguments, and it is, of course, it heightens domestic abuse. So I would venture to say that this new portion of this big, beautiful bill is going to either contribute to higher domestic violence rates or with each other, because we're going to need each other to live. If I'm only making 15 and you only making 15, neither one of us qualifies for shit. So we need to come together so that we can put this thing together correctly. We need to come together so that we can build our skill set and we can make more. If two people in the house make $25 an hour working, that house, all right, that's a 6-figure fucking household right there. I know it sounds crazy, but yes, two people making $25 an hour working full time is a 6-figure household. Meaning, you can furnish a life from that. Granted, you won't have a mansion, but if you can't survive in America with $100,000 per year, then you got your priorities fucked up. It is what it is. I don't want to hear nobody tell me about taxes and shit like that. $100,000 a year in one house. That's just two people. Let's forget that you got 5 kids. We'll get into that in another mathematical equation. But I'm just talking about 2 people, $25 an hour, shouldn't need the government for nothing. But the percentage of people that actually make that is far lower than the percentage of people who make less than $25 an hour. So everybody that makes less than $25 an hour is about to get screwed. The funny part is, anybody that made over $20 an hour has been getting screwed because they're at that cusp where they can't get help, but they can't afford to help themselves. It's like a purgatory, right? It's a purgatory. So understand this, guys. Economic stress increases domestic violence statistically by 30 or more %. That's not opinion, that's research. We did the research, and this is what we found. So this big, beautiful bill, in this regard, like I said, I'm focusing on the Medicare SNAP thing because I see where that's going to have a direct effect. Tax breaks for the rich, I might be pissed about it, but I don't think that's going to kill anybody. And I don't know if I'm supposed to use that term, but I think that I can be unhappy with it, but at least somebody's getting something. So that's more motivation for me to make more so I can qualify for that, because I'm closer to that threshold than that $10 an hour shit. So I've never qualified for that stuff myself. So my goal is to get to that other tier where I can get the breaks from the 200,000 and up group. But that's me. I'm me. Everybody ain't me. Some people don't have the skill set that I have. Some people don't have the background that I have. So to just say, I won't work anywhere for less than $25 an hour. Like I can say that. And like, that's what it is. You see what I'm saying? Other people can't say that. They'll say, man, I hope I can get a job making $25 an hour. Meanwhile, they're working at a place making $10 an hour and they can only work part-time in order to qualify for the SNAP benefit. So it's like you can't get out of that. How are you supposed to get out of that? If you're only working part-time at $10 an hour, you can't afford to go back to school. You're going to need a grant, loan, something like that. So you're just stuck in a perpetual poverty over and over and over again. And so they wonder why birth rates are dropping. Is because how are you supposed to exist in a world where you can't come up as a couple? When a man and a woman, or woman and woman, whoever the hell, gets together in one household, and being together becomes the negative. It's not supposed to be like that. If the U.S. wants families to grow and they want to be focused on nuclear family, then they shouldn't make it so that creating the family is a detriment, because that's what they've done. The more people you have, let's say we're all broke. We all make $10 an hour. None of us qualify for the shit anymore because we're together. And that's not the equivalent of one person making $20. That's 2 people making $10. 2 people broke, and neither one of them can qualify at $10 an hour. Are you kidding me? And you wonder why these people get into fighting and all that when somebody eats up all the food or some money comes up missing. Is because they don't have it. And this is not helping them have it. This is get off your ass and go to work. And if you don't go to work, you'll just be at home with nothing. You'll just be homeless, basically. We're not going to send you no housing. You're not going to get nothing. Nothing. So it's either go back to work or go to the street. live on your own, how are you going to afford to live with a family? Like, really think about that. So they're complaining about population growth, but they're not understanding that nobody's going, you can't even get in the mood when you be real broke. I ain't gonna lie. Like, I've seen, there's a homeless couple that lives in my area. They always look very happy, and I still don't understand it. I'm like, how you happy? And at the end of the day, y'all are sleeping in a box. Couple ain't with all that. Most of the women I know, they ain't fit to live in a box with anybody, no matter how much they love you. Your ass will be in that, it'll be a solo box. That's it. She will move on or be by herself and get the government to be husband. Oh, it makes sense. It's all by design. They want you trapped in part-time poverty or full-time poverty. Either way, if you're not making over $200,000 as a household per year, there's no benefit for you. It's as simple as that. There's no benefits for you in this thing. Unless you are one of the people who is receiving income through tips, because they did do the no tax on tips. So that's one benefit. But if you're not taxing the tips, what are you going to do with the money that you're not getting in those taxes? What they're going to do is they're taking it out of the people that have to go back to work to try to survive off of SNAP. You're not going to have it, guys. If you're watching my show right now, let me let you know, the average person is not going to qualify. If you go try to find a job right now, even at the gas station, you're going to make more than enough. Well, more than their threshold. I'm not going to say more than enough because you won't have enough, but you'll make more than the threshold that they'll be giving you in order to qualify for any assistance from anyone. That means medical and food. At $10 an hour. Do you understand how little that is that they're expecting you to survive on? And if you ask, hey, I need some help, I only have XYZ, I only make $11, $12 an hour, you don't qualify. So you're better off homeless. I hate to say it. I hate to say it. For some people, you might be better off just forget about it. Because if not, you're going to stress yourself out trying to create a life that they basically created a trap for. It's a trap, guys. It really is. So understand what I'm trying to do. Here, minimizing, recidivism, basically helping the people that fall into that group. Because I understand that if you don't make $25 an hour or more, you will not survive out here. You won't. You'll just be a broke ass catching the government money every month. And government money ain't really that good. It's not. I've seen people that literally lie, literally quit jobs just to stay on government assistance because they knew if they worked one extra hour, made $20 extra in the time period they weren't supposed to, then all of a sudden they lose everything. Some of them have kids. The kids lose everything. Now, if you're not making $25 an hour, you're fucked. I don't want to say it that way, but that's the way it has to be said in order for y'all to get it. This is not a game no more. I know Trump is cinema. He's fun to watch, but this shit is real, okay? This is really happening right now. You have an 80-hour per month work requirement if you want to collect these benefits. And the only people that are not going to be considered in that are physically disabled people. So let me tell you what, all of you bipolar ass people, all of you manic depressing ass people, all of you folks who are agoraphobic and don't want to go outside, or you're a germaphobe, or any of these things that they want to diagnose as a mental health issue, but you're physically capable, that's who they're coming for next. Why should you get to sit at home? They say, well, I'm depressed. My mother died 6 months ago. I haven't been right ever since. I'll tell you what, we'll get your work from home job, but you still have the work requirement. You have to prove that you cannot qualify. And this is not opinion. I looked this stuff up because I needed to understand. What about the people who have manic depressiveness? What about the people who are bipolar, who can't work because of mental health issues, but physically they get up, go to the store, and do everything we all do, right? Nah, no more of that. The decision will be made by the people at the SNAP office. So your doctor can send a paper in to say, hey, this person has a mental health issue, right? And then the person at the office can literally look at you and be like, you're not that bad, and deny you those benefits. So that's a whole nother segment that they hadn't talked about. It's the group, if you putting work requirements on anyone who's not physically disabled. And mental disability, unless we're talking about Down syndrome and certain things like that, aren't always considered physical disabilities. They don't necessarily stop you from standing, walking, talking. You see what I'm saying? So now, those people who've been able to get over with their mental health issue, not necessarily get over, but get by with their mental health issue to qualify for this, they're not going to qualify either. They're going to have to go back to work too. And what happens when all these people go back to work? Taxes get taken out of the money and the government makes more money. So there's no $300 million cut. It's putting your asses back to work, and we're going to make $300 million off the taxes that y'all got to pay when you go back to work. That's what that is. You see what I'm saying? This is not a game, y'all. Because I know people that do this. I know people that thought they was getting over with hey, I'm depressed, and they get 6 months, a year or so. Hey, I'm still depressed, and they just kept giving them stuff. Nah, that's over with, guys. That's done. That's done. You have to get your ass together, get back to work. So my suggestion to all is to find you somebody you can link up with. Anyway, then you and that person can work together and build this joint. Because that's the only choice. That's the only choice, guys. The only choice is for men and women, or, like I said, I'm a traditional classic man. So I believe in the nuclear family, husband, wife, children, picket fence, the dogs, the whole thing, right? I believe in that. I believe that is the strongest group, and I believe that furnishes the best results when it comes to the kids, okay? Not saying that a gay couple can't raise a kid or whatever. What I'm saying is, statistically, the best results come from a husband and wife raising a family together. And they don't even have, the kids don't even have to be biologically somebody's. We're talking about a man and a woman together with a focus on their children, family, and legacy. It just works out better. It is what it is. So you can hate me if you want, if you're one of the alternative lifestyles on here, prove me wrong with stats, or shut the hell up. I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm just saying there's a better chance this way. Okay? So here's my challenge. Because I understand that when people are not stressed out and they can actually afford to live and they're not trapped in economic stress, it heals families. I believe that women wouldn't, some women wouldn't be as, because here's the thing, a lot of times women go to work, they can't collect but so much child support because their income is too high. So they go to court and say, I want all this from this dude, and they make more than the guy. And the judge will be like, well, you make more than him, so you're not getting that. So we need to start working together. It's as simple as that. I've been trying to find other ways to say it, but it's as simple as that. We as a community, we get up every day, we go to work, we do what we got to do, we take care of our kids, we take care of our families, but we're not taking care of. But what I'm seeing, the U.S. got problems because most of y'all who are smart on this channel know that the greater majority of people who receive numbers, that's who's going to be affected by this the most. I know that sounds wild, don't it? We so used to the ghetto mama, right? Nah, numbers wise, that's them. They coming for them. That's theirs. That was their program for single Caucasian women or women who had the inability to work years ago because they were in relationships and some dude left or whatever. That was for white women. They just turned it into something else. But now when they start pulling the rug from it, it's going to affect them disproportionately. What I will say is I don't see nobody out there protesting this. This real though. You can go read the big, beautiful bill. They voting on it right now. They just recently voted on one of the parts where we still have to give illegal immigrants the same care that we're not going to qualify for. Why the hell would I want to give somebody something that my people can't qualify for? And when I say my people, I'm talking about American citizens. We can't qualify for the shit, but you want us to give it to somebody who just came over here. And you're not going to give them no work requirement or nothing. That's messed up. Bullshit, man. Sorry, I know y'all were in the chat, but I had to get my point out. A lot of times we get on these lives and the live gets derailed by the chat because you're trying to answer all the chats. Sometimes I just got to tune in, finish my thought, and then I come back to the chat. So I don't want to be disrespectful to anybody if you put anything in the chat and I did not answer. That was why. It's because I wanted to make sure y'all heard all of this. If you don't get anything else from here in this channel, in this episode today, number one, start asking the real questions of yourself. Start asking the real questions of your representatives. Why does somebody need to make $25 an hour just to survive? No vacations, no leisure, no Disney World trips, no. No toys, no go-kart track, none of that. Just to eat, sleep with lights, hot water and heat. Well, depending on where you live, air conditioning, the basics, the survival basics. And if you're making half of $25 an hour, guess what? You don't qualify for no help. You'd have to be making $3.50 or so. Actually, $3.75, I think it would be. $3.75 an hour, which used to be minimum wage like years ago. Then it became server wage. So servers, waiters, waitresses, they would make $3.75 an hour plus tips. So that was the last time I seen the $3.75 hourly. So honestly, you're better off going to be a waiter. There's no tax on those tips. So you will save there. So, hey, if you're making less than $25 an hour, but more than, and you're right, no reply. Thank you for stopping in the chat. Donald J. Plump, thank you for stopping in the chat as well. This did happen in the housing boom back in, I want to say, the 90s. That was when everything price-wise changed. But it didn't happen right away. It's been gradual. It's been very gradual. It's been a gradual plugging and poking into your rear with no lubrication. Gradual. They said, oh, relax. It's not going to hurt. It's not going to hurt. So, are they doing tax on tips or they're not doing tax on tips? I don't know. I got to catch up with, because they've been voting on this for the last 24 hours now. So I don't know what the final word is, but I do know that this Medicare, Medicaid, and SNAP thing did go into play. That's 100%. That's where we're at. 80-hour work requirement. You better make less than $10 an hour or you're fucked. Okay? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They was like, oh no, well, that's not gonna hurt. Just relax. You just gotta let it happen. Take that. That's what they did. And now here we are. I can give you a perfect example. A house that I know was purchased back in 93, 94, that was less than $200,000 for that house. That house is now worth over $500,000. Same exact house. Ain't nothing been added to it but a deck. Over 30 years. And it's worth almost $600,000 at this point. And I still don't get that. Like, why now? Whereas I could have bought a house for $200,000. I can't buy no $500,000 house. And it's, back in the day, $200,000 would get you nice 4-5 bedrooms with a 2-car garage in a nice area where there wasn't crackheads. Now, take that $200,000, see what you get. Take that. Take that. So here we go. So why are they designing these policies? I believe it's to make up for what happened back in the 90s, where they inflated everything and they're trying to pay off a debt that's never going to get paid off. It's never going to get paid off. We're too far in debt. We're still going into debt. Every different administration that comes in adds to the debt. Nobody really reduces the debt. And if they do, it's such a small amount, it's really insignificant. So what they're trying to do is make us pay their debt. That's it. They're going to send all the lower wage people back to work, tax the dog shit out of them. and they'll use that money to try to repay it. And they'll call it a $300 million cut. They'll be like, we saved this much in Medicare or Medicaid this year. But what it'll be is people being forced off these programs because they make more than $10 an hour. $10. Y'all understand how little that is? I made $10 an hour when I was like 15. Like one of my first jobs. You understand what I'm saying? I'm talking years ago. And it wasn't great money then, but back then, $10 an hour was all right. Like, it was all right. If you was a teenager, like 15, 16 years old, and you were making $10 an hour, you only had to work like 20 hours a week. You just working on weekends and stuff. That was decent money. Now, they want you to live and take care of your whole family on $10 an hour. As a grown-up. As a grown-up, y'all. This is our government. This is us. This is what we have now been subjected to. But if you heard the first piece with Marjorie Taylor Greene, what you have to understand is some of these concepts are not direct from Trump's head. That's why he's got to sign it at the end. Oh, he's got some ideas in it, but there are other things working, the whole different cauldron working, where they're mixing up some shit that's going to have you stuck for the rest of your life. It's as simple as this. And the work requirement goes up to 65 years old, guys. So if you're 65 years old or less and you are collecting SNAP or Medicare benefits, you have a work requirement unless you have a physical disability that has to be signed off on by a physician or whoever, a doctor, must sign off on it. And even then, the final say-so goes to whoever's in the damn office that you're in when you go to the office. So like I said, you can come in there with some paper that says you crazy. If they don't think you crazy, take your ass to work and get out my office. That's just sad, man. It's just sad. Saying they're cutting Medicaid. Okay, well, wait a second now. What are we talking about? That's why this whole conversation started. They're not cutting Medicaid. They're forcing people to cut them to disqualify themselves. They're forcing people to disqualify themselves. That's what it is. So they're not cutting it. They're just making something happen that takes people off of it. So they're not saying, hey, you can't have it no more. What they're saying is, we're going to give you this work requirement. You have, let's say, 90 days to start doing it, whatever it is, whatever they come up with, right? In that time, most places ain't going to hire you for no $3.25 an hour. They're not. So the second you go in there, you got 30 days. By the time, you know how they do. The second you put your social security number on a W-2 or whatever it is, or the I-9, it's one of them forms. You put your joint on and they put it in the system to say that you are an employee of said company, you will get a letter from the office. Hey, congratulations on your new job. You see what I'm saying? Soon as you won't even get your first check yet. You won't even get your first check yet. The second they turn in that I-9 or whatever that is, it hits some system, and it's a system called STARS. So you can look this up. It's a STARS is what it's called. I forgot what the acronym stands for, but that system is how they track if people who are receiving benefits get a job. The second you get a real job. Now, if you're doing some under the table stuff, it is what it is. But if you go work somewhere, when they sign you on as an employee, the STAR system knows that you got a job and that you've been put on a payroll. So you don't get that message until you start your first day. So let's say you're going through an interview, background check, that kind of thing. They won't send you the message. The second you start, I'm talking about within a week, you're going to get a letter and it's going to say, congratulations. And no reply. Understand, they're not cutting Medicaid. They're making people disqualify themselves for. 65 years old or less has an 80-hour per month work requirement, unless they have a diagnosed and proven physical disability that prevents them from work. So if you're just old, but you still moving around, you still mobile, you could still be the greeter at Walmart, you got to go back to work. Even if you haven't been working for years at this point, let's say you stop working at 50, but you're still like able to do something, they want you to do it. They want to drain the shit out of you so they can get them taxes, so they can try to pay off that deficit that will never be paid off. It'll never be paid off. And me, for one, I'm tired of them telling me about the damn federal debt when I got debt. Anybody trying to pay my debt? Nobody. The federal government's like, yo, you know what? How about we just eliminate everybody's debt? Let's bail out the companies. Let's pay off everybody's debt. Get everybody to start with a 700 credit score. You know that would tank the economy, of course. But I'm just saying, why not? Since we're just doing whatever, at this point, they're punishing us for working. And then they sort of punish you for not working. Because if you don't have enough income, you don't qualify for shit. Like, you want a car? You want a car? Try to get a decent car at $10 an hour. You won't qualify for it. You got to get a piece of shit. You don't get to get a nice car when you only make $10. None of that at that price point. So that means you can't qualify for SNAP benefits, can't qualify for medical benefits, you can't qualify for a loan, you can't qualify for a credit card, you can't qualify for a car, you can't qualify for an apartment because you got to make 3 times the rent amount to move in. And you got to put up 2 months security deposit. People about to be back on the streets. I hate to say it, people about to be on the streets. You're going to have people, working people living on the streets. That's what's about to happen. So just understand, they're not going to they're calling it a budget cut, but it's not a cut per se. They're not taking it away. They're forcing us to give it up. Not necessarily everybody, because some of us don't qualify for the shit. But the ones that do, that are disproportionately Caucasian. Let's keep this in mind, y'all. I'm sure on the internet it's just going to be black people complaining because that's who always wants to do that. But on the back end, that's mostly white people. Hate to say it, they get 60% of the food stamps and that assistance. Black people get about 40% of it. Now, granted, there's a lot less black people, but numbers-wise, that's their folks that's getting hit. So we'll see if they sit down and take that. I'm sure nobody would care if it was just black people. But I know this ain't about color. This is about haves and have-nots, and haves and have-nots come in all different colors. And this particular have-not, when it comes to the welfare system, the have-nots are more Caucasians. So let's see what happens when the rednecks and the broke Caucasian people get upset. A lot of them are MAGAs. A lot of them were MAGA supporters. Now all of a sudden, yeah, you're getting cut off, bro. And there's no white privilege in this. It's about money, how much you make. So those of you that want to believe everything is always racial and white privilege and black this, no. This has always been this way. They make us think it's about color and shit. It's got to do with money. Ignorant people exist at all levels. So you can be a rich black person and run into a rich racist white person. That could happen. But you can also be a rich white person and run into a rich racist black person, or at least a prejudiced black person. You can have a guy that you might be the best software engineer, and there might be a black IT firm, and they don't want to hire white people. You see what I'm saying? So it's all over the place. But the bottom line is, if you ain't got it, they're coming for you. So you either going to have to stay at home and not do shit with your life, or be able to link up with somebody else and y'all do that shit together, because it ain't meant for one person, especially not if you have a child or two. But also, having the children increases how much you can make. But it still won't get you to $25 an hour. This shit goes up like, I think it's $250 per kid. So versus, $1,500, now it's $1,700. But most people who make $20 or more on a check are making $1,500 to $1,700 per paycheck. Like full time. So they're not gonna qualify for it. They gotta go. Everybody gotta go. Everybody's getting off of this shit and they want y'all tax money. So what we need to do is we got to band together. We have to understand this is not about black and white. It's not about that. It's about money. Money, money, money. And the only color that money gives a damn about is green. So we need to stop all this back and forth shit, mad at somebody because they don't like this and they don't like that. At the end of the day, if you make 50 grand and I make 50 grand, we in the same boat in America. I hate to say it. Now, you can go to different areas and you might get approached differently. But as far as the federal government's concerned, they don't give a damn what color you are. I don't remember them asking for color on my income tax returns. They don't ask about color. They ask about how much is your taxable? What's your deductions? And then they take what they take. And they don't care what color you are. They care that you're here and that you're earning money in America. That's it. And that's all, guys. So let's stop with the goofiness. Let's stop with this whole, it's us versus each other. It's not. We sticking together and not fighting each other. I'm not fighting for Elon Musk. I'm fighting for the guy that makes $20 an hour. Fuck Elon Musk. Respectfully. But you see what I'm saying. Fuck Donald Trump. He gonna be good. You see what I'm saying? He good. He don't even need the $400,000 salary that the U.S. government pays to the president. So he good. Even if they tried to tax him, he's making less than $10 an hour right now. This nigga can get a tax return and get Medicare and SNAP. Because he's over 65, he doesn't have an income. So I know that sounds crazy, but this is the world we live in, guys. This is the world we live in. So I just need everybody, calm it down. It's not gay versus straight. It's not black versus white. It's people that have a lot versus people that don't have a lot. And if you're not making more than $200,000 per year as a household, you are considered one of the have-nots under this new bill. Because the haves get another tax credit deduction at that higher level. But guess what they do to them? They're going to come and get their capital gains too. They're going to come and hit some other money they didn't even know about. Unforeseen capital gains, shit I might make based on trends. You're going to tax me based on what I might do next year. That's crazy to me. But that's also going on. But I ain't worried about them. Because if you're making that much, you can survive out here. Even if they start taxing you a little bit on capital gains, you'll be all right making more than 200. And if you can't live off of 200,000 in your area, then move. Because there's a million areas you can move to that you can live off of $200,000. And same goes for $100,000. You can make it as a $100,000 household as long as you don't have 8 fucking kids in there. If it's just 2 adults and there's only $100,000 total dollars coming in that door, y'all don't have no reason to not be able to live life. Unless you're just making dumbass decisions, paying too much for clothes, buying $500 shoes, doing stupid shit like that. But if you're like, mindful and responsible, you'll be all right. But understand, $100,000 a year comes from 2 people in a house making $25 an hour or more together. That's your 6-figure household. So the bare minimum, guys, is $25. So I know they've been talking about, hey, minimum wage, $15. Nope, you need $25 to survive. All right, just remember that line, $25 to survive. If it's not $25, they want you on the street. And then once you end up on the street and you try to go get help, they're going to tell your ass you got to go back to work. Unless you're 65 or over or have a physical disability. So that's crazy, man. It's absolutely nuts. Absolutely nuts. So I want you guys to have these conversations outside of these episodes. Do what it is that y'all going to do. But make sure that when you go out into this world, that you understand that we all live here. We all have a point to be here. And we're going to need each other. I'm not going to lie. This is about to get messier. Because what's going to happen to all of those people they just deported, those jobs are now open. Those are what? Low-income jobs where people can now start working, but they're going to be kicked off of everything else. Crazy, right? Dennis Everhart, thanks for stopping in the chat as well. I love that comment. But yeah, that's real. Donald Trump doesn't have an income. So technically he's broke. He's in poverty. So he can get food stamps. He can get food stamps and get all of the oodles. Problem with it if he did. Yes, that's who the program is for, right? No, it's not. But those are the loopholes. Unfortunately, people were utilizing loopholes, and the main loophole was mental health. That's the one that I want y'all to really pay attention to. Physical disability is different. If a person got an arm missing or something, hey, you got an arm missing. We're not gonna have you on the fryer, But if you just, I lost somebody close to me a couple years ago and it just, I didn't deal with it well, your ass going back to work. Right back. They're not even going to let you finish the statement. Oh, that's it? Nah, you good. You good. Go ahead. And I checked on agoraphobia. That was the one I really checked on. If you don't know what agoraphobics are, those are people who are afraid to go outside. Like they just in their house all the time. They get everything delivered. They're just afraid to go outside for whatever reason. Some people it's because they're germaphobes. Some people it's because they have this weird paranoia of whatever, but they can't go outside. Guess what they're going to have to do? Work your ass from home. We got technology. When you go to the unemployment office, they could get you on a job search right there in the computer lab. So here we are, 2025. You need 25 to survive. If you're not making $25 or more, you're going to be stuck. And you might as well just find a nice size refrigerator box and tighten that joint up because you might end up in it for a couple of months or living in a damn hotel or something. If you want to get something that's like $1,000 a month, you can get a hotel for that. The shitty hotel. And I guarantee there's prostitutes out front, but you can live there. And they might have a continental breakfast that has the little cinnamon rolls. No icing on them, but they got the cinnamon rolls. Okay? Don't ask me why I know. You're being too personal. So anyway, let me give out my shouts. I'm gonna let y'all take this information with y'all because it's very important. When they sign off on this today, the first thing that's gonna happen is everybody who fits under those umbrellas is gonna get a letter. It's going to say, hey, due to recent changes in the federal whatever system, you now have a work requirement. You have X amount of days to comply or you will lose all benefits. And we're going to have to, well, not we, some of us are going to have to comply. That's sad, man. So I'm going to tell y'all right now, the solution, in my eyes, is people need to start linking up. Do what the Hispanics were doing. They were living 3, 4, 5 people to an apartment. Sometimes more. I ain't with all that. I'm saying, my opinion is get you a woman, if you're a man, and y'all link it up, do a family, and that's the best way to do that. But if you're not in that position, hey, get some roommates. Get some friends. But you're going to have to get it together because this is happening as we speak for those who have those issues. But just to be honest with you, if you're not making $25 or more an hour, you're going to have to find a way to do so because this world is about to screw the shit out of you. The tax deductible did not change for you. It changed for people at a higher income. So for you guys in the middle, the so-called, so let me get my shout outs. Let me get up out of here, man, because now I'm pissed off thinking about it. All them people going to get a letter. I'm telling you, watch, the internet's going to be TikTok. Everybody, oh, they cut me off. They cut me off. We're about to hear that shit for weeks. Instead of having the understanding that this is what the game is. You got to play the game. This is the game. So if the game says you got to make 25 or more, you better figure out how the hell you make. Like nobody comes when you can't pay your rent. Never. It doesn't happen. So we can't count on it. The government is not going to bail you out of this shit. If they're going to do anything, what they're going to do is they're going to take as much as they can from you to pay off their debts. Because they got debts. And to them, the most important debt is the government's debt, not yours. Who gives a damn if you go into debt? The government got $36 trillion debt. I don't give a damn about the government debt, but the government does. And the only way they're going to pay it off is with your money, not theirs. And they're coming for it. It is what it is. Fucking sucks, but it is what it is. Very simple. I normally don't cover these kind of things, but this one, I did some studying on, and I said, yeah, there's no way of avoiding this being in effect. There's no way of avoiding the effect of this, is what I'm saying. There's no way. Not everybody makes $25 or more per hour. And once your kids are a certain age, they don't help you qualify for food stamps anyway. Like if your kid turns 18 and gets a job, that becomes part of the household income and knocks you right out of those benefits again. So look, stop playing with that shit. You better figure out how to make 25 to survive. If you can't make 25, you better link up with somebody else that makes what you make. If y'all both making $15 an hour, hey, do it together then, because you're not going to qualify for shit on your own. So you might as well link up with somebody else. That's crazy. That's just crazy, man. I'm gonna see where it turns out. We'll see how it turns out. But I want everybody to keep your wits about you. Don't get totally upset. Understand the game, play the game, and that's how you win the game. That's why this is considered an educational channel now. I thought it was news, but they did a scan on it, and they said that because we're teaching concepts, that this was a better educational channel. So we're in education now, guys. We started in comedy a year ago. That didn't go well because we were being a little too real, and these are real stories. But now we're in it. So nonetheless, Sebastian Pelega, thank you for stopping on through the chat. You definitely are, you earned your wrench there, and you sent a super chat, so thank you for that as well. Jack263 stopped in the chat. Who was this? Dennis Everhart stopped in the chat. Donald J. Plump, my favorite, I would say troll, but he doesn't troll all the time. So he's like a partial troll. He's like the troll at the end of the bridge, but tells you a joke, so you kind of let it be. So Donald J. Plump, shouts to you for stopping in. No reply, thank you for stopping in. Ascending Phoenix, shouts to NYC, New York. Ascending Phoenix, thank you for stopping in. My man Al Bond, my sergeant at arms, the master of the moderators, shouts to you. Shouts, of course, to IAMZ for stopping in there. John Coleman for stopping in there. Ben came through again. And who else was in there? And a skewed Jew came through. So special shouts to a skewed Jew. But guys, I got some shit to do, because for some of us, we make more than $25 an hour, but it is hard to survive out here, and I got to survive out here. So I'm telling y'all right now, if you are not making more than $25 an hour, then that, my friends, is the bullshit. And we out of here. Peace.